I don't know why he didn't walk out to another one that bites the dust, but oh well. First domino's finally fallen. Cuomo did in fact leave today. He said he was going to be out in 2 weeks' time, and guess what? Motherfucker gave a 15-minute long speech, and he said some goofy shit, but yeah, that was to be expected anyways. Outgoing Governor Andrew Cuomo used his farewell speech on Monday to deny, complain, boast, and of course take a parting shot at his longtime political nemesis, Mayor Bill de Blasio. That's fair, but yeah, no, it's once again just par for the course for a Democrat. Here are some of the more tone-deaf, head-scratching, and ultimately predictable remarks from the 16-minute pre-recorded address that marked the disgraceful end of Cuomo's nearly 3 terms in office. Sucks to suck. Unfair and unjust. Interesting. Cuomo again denied the allegations. I've seen the allegations in the report from the Attorney General, and they are fairly bogus anyways. And again, this is not the thing you should be taking Cuomo down for. There's a lot of fucking body bags filled with 80 and 90-year-olds that he should be held accountable for. But hey, again, if they want to keep the Me Too narrative running, this was exactly what he was fucking going to be doing. None of whom are current or former state employees, and who include a state trooper assigned to his protective detail. You know me, I am a fighter, and my instincts is to fight because it is unfair and unjust in my mind. But you also know that I love New York and I serve you. That is an oath I took, and in this moment I believe the right thing is that my service comes first. Prolonging this situation could only cause governmental paralysis. And that is not an option for you, and not an option for the state, especially now. There is real work to be done, and it will require my government to function at the highest level. Huh? Although he developed a well-earned reputation for vindictiveness and made millions of dollars off the back of his popularity for his daily coronavirus briefings, with that leadership book that's still for sale in stores everywhere. Ugh, can you fucking believe it? It got on the New York Times bestseller list. Where were the actual numbers sold? Don't dig too deep into that. The popularity of his daily coronavirus briefings, Cuomo, please look at some charts. Cuomo painted himself as a victim of politics and decried the current state of politics and media coverage. Should have been doing it earlier, pal. When government politicizes allegations and headlines condemn, without facts, you undermine the justice system. And that doesn't serve women, and it doesn't serve men or society. Oh, see, he's such a male feminist. He's got to put women first. He's such a good guy. Political firecracker. Cuomo continued to attack the devastating 168-page report. The only thing that would be more devastating is if Lolita James ended up stepping on your foot. That would break so many bones. A firecracker can start a stampede. Quick story. But at one point, everyone looks around and says, why are we running? The truth is ultimately always revealed. The Attorney General's report was designed to be a political firecracker on an explosive topic, and it worked. And there was a political and media stampede. You killed a lot of people's grandparents. I'm just saying. Not talk, action. Although his top aide told New York One that Cuomo has no interest in running for office again. Who would vote for somebody who's almost 70 years old? Especially if he wanted to run for elected office when he's closer to 80. Oh wait, apparently 81 million people. So let's not count him out yet. We've embarked on the most aggressive green energy plan in the nation. Not talk, action. Hundreds of projects across the state starting now. How many rich people have fled your state? And wasn't it that long ago? Well, I guess it's not your state anymore. Sucks to suck. But weren't you having a press conference around the time of your coronavirus press briefings, Cuomo? Just begging people, hey, if you're rich, please stay. I'll buy you dinner. We'll sit down. We'll have a nice time. We'll talk about the waitresses. Fine ass. We'll go to Hooters. You like wings? Let's see what he has to say about the incoming mayor, because let's be completely honest, Eric Adams won the primary under, very dubious circumstances. Not for the fact that he won it, he was the right candidate to win, but that 135,000 test ballots that were initially counted that made the race a whole lot closer. Very interesting, but yeah, he won the primary and there's going to be an election, so he's just going to end up, because he has the D at the end of his name. It's not like he's a bad guy, he's actually pretty moderate. He used to be a police officer of some standing. True to form, Cuomo couldn't resist the last stand on the bully pulpit to attack de Blasio near the end of his remarks, albeit without mentioning Hisner, who recently began likening the governor to a Shakespearean villain by name. Eric Adams will be the next mayor of New York City. Okay, the only correct thing he said in 16 minutes. I'll think he'll bring a new philosophy and competence to the position and can give New York City her residents hope for the future. I love it, taking shots at this loser. All I can say is I'm looking forward to 11:59 p.m. Press Secretary Bill Neidhart said. Who's the press secretary for Bill de Blasio? What a cunt. But Assemblyman Phil Steck, D from Schenectady, said the move was part of Cuomo being able to leave without insulting someone. What does Bill de Blasio have to do with the governor leaving office? Oh, I don't know. Where do most people in New York live? Where does everything permeate out from? New York City. Don't you think that the biggest city in North America probably has a little bit of sway? Somebody who undermined Cuomo whenever he was making a good point? Because what was it? Cuomo said we're not shutting down schools when he was supposed to be having a joint press conference with Bill de Blasio. And then a couple minutes later, Bill de Blasio shuts down all the schools in New York City. They're really on the same page, so it makes sense that he would take a shot at him out the door. But again, you're taking this motherfucker down for the wrong reasons. Nursing homes. But again, that would have kicked off a whole bunch of other investigations. So guess what? Pops can just go retire out in the hills. He can fucking get the Michael Corleone from Godfather Part 2 compound, and you can just look outside and see the fields where his kids and his grandkids can go play in the fields. Quick story. So what's going to happen going forward? Well, I guess tomorrow morning, Kathy Hochul, whatever, a New York's first female governor is going to be taking over for the next year and change. She's going to have a totally gutted office, so for like the next month, she's going to be putting other people in place because Cuomo is leaving with just absolute scorched earth behind him. A lot of aides are out of there, and it's going to be rough for a minute, especially for a state that economically is as fucked up as New York is right now. Don't even have to mention the vaccine passport that's happening in New York City right now, but out of the major city, the rest of the state just doesn't like Democrats, but they're also ineffectual in doing that. And Albany's a disaster, and Buffalo's its own weird thing. It's a big state with a lot of problems, and there's not a lot of people in place. So it's going to be a very interesting turn of events. Like rats in a sinking ship, dozens of top staffers in Governor Andrew Cuomo's office fled their jobs in the months before he was forced to resign amid a sexual harassment scandal, which again really doesn't fucking pan out that much. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, sexy name, will replace the disgraced Cuomo at midnight Tuesday, and it appears she has plenty of vacancies to fill. 23 staffers assigned to Cuomo's tight-knit executive chamber resigned from January 1st through August 11th of this year, according to personnel records kept by the state comptroller Tom Napoli. Another Ginzo. 23 people. I wonder if he grabs asses too, because he's also Italian, and that was Cuomo's... Anyways, 23 people leaving the executive chamber is a high number, said Rob Cole, who served as senior advisor to former three-term Governor George Pataki. That's probably more Cuomo aides assigned to other state agencies who also left, and the names of some of the departed people have been publicly known. The breadth of the exodus is striking, and the records show that Cuomo relied on an old hand who worked for his father, the late three-term Governor Mario Cuomo, ex-FBI agent Joe Spinelli. Doesn't that sound like every fucking FBI agent in an old Scorsese film? Hey, go grease Joey Spinelli over there. Cuomo, unannounced last year, hired Spinelli, who served as the elder Cuomo's state inspector general, as a department secretary and a senior advisor with a $188,700 annual salary. Payroll records show, with unknown amounts of incentives and additional bonuses. And how many hoes did he get? Spinelli, according to his LinkedIn page, that's despicable, worked for the governor from March 2020 when the pandemic hit until May 2021. It's unusual not to announce the hiring of a staffer with a top salary. Who knows if that's actually the top salary? One former Cuomo official who was not familiar with Spinelli's work during the peak of the coronavirus. How would you not? He was being championed as being the best leader during the coronavirus pandemic. Oh, that's still going on and is very serious. Another source said Spinelli was brought in to work at public safety areas. Other departures in recent months include former counsel Kimuki Gibson, That's quite a contrast. Who made $204,000. See, Spinelli, you got shortchanged on that one, my dude. And assistant counsel Rose Nadine Fontaine, who was paid $176,851. A woman earning less. You could have earned a little bit more, honey, if you would have put out. Gibson had served as Cuomo's chief lawyer for 2 years, overseeing legislation of all legal issues involving the executive chamber and government workforce. He replaced Alfonso David, don't care. Maybe I should, who now heads the Human Rights Campaign and whose name surfaced in a State Attorney General Alita James investigative report that concluded Cuomo had harassed 11 women. Yeah, sure it did, but they also didn't charge him with anything because they really didn't have anything to go on. Another key staffer, Max Orenstein, who was making $156,060 a year. That's very important. As creative director, left in April. Orenstein is now the communications director at Banani. Don't know, don't care. 2 other top aides left the executive office for soft landings at other state entities. You know, that's a picture of Kathy Hochul right there, and she looks exactly like I would have expected her to be completely honest. Just some middle-aged broad with just milquetoast ideas, but she's going to have a lot of fucking work ahead of her, and I wish her super success because I would love to see New York becoming the thriving place it was in the late 90s, early 2000s, with the exception of one very important event that happened, obviously, but just the economic hub of North America where people actually aspired to go to, not aspired to flee from. God bless and great work to her. I don't foresee it happening, but then again, I am kind of a pessimistic dick. But with that said, guys, I actually have a new video on my second channel. It is my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, and man, time has flown. And when I first started, holy shit, I couldn't imagine just about 650 people subscribed to this shit. Like, I'm very proud of what I put out there. Just a little aside notwithstanding, very proud of my work, okay? I've been very consistent. I don't think that there's anybody else who's been as consistent and as dedicated. Listen, when I was first starting out, I was doing 2 videos before. I really would consider my official launch date for the channel to be early October, but we'll get around to that whenever it comes. But today was the first day that I put out the video because I remember it vividly, okay? It was the Sunday before. I was put on a 2-week leave for potentially having the coof at my final job that I ended up leaving. And I knew that it just had to do something. I had to make a choice that would affect what I would have to do with hopefully the rest of my life. I love doing commentary. I love putting my ideas out there. And the fact that 650 people on YouTube, over 300 people on Rumble, almost 100 people on Odyssey actually give a shit what I have to say. I can't thank you guys enough. Prior to posting on YouTube, I had no presence online. I'm not somebody who begs and pleads for likes or subs or any of that kind of happy horseshit. That's not what I'm about. Don't have the connections out there. I don't really focus on that kind of stuff. I have some irons in the fire, and if they do end up picking up, I'd be extremely happy and extremely hopeful. But I've also got to take into account that there's so much stuff that I want to do and that I just need to make the time for it. So that's why the new channel that's going to be out there, it already has a brand new video out there. I haven't done any of the metadata, I haven't done any of the back end stuff, so I'm not too sure what it's called. But I also have a different background, a different look. It's a different presentation, but it's still me. It's still in a camera frame. It's still got an article up there, but we're discussing stuff that I am incredibly passionate about that doesn't really fit into the coverage that we have over here. If you like it, great. If you think that I'm too much of a softie over there, guess what? That's just another facet of my personality, okay? Because I'm kind of a go-hard motherfucker over here. But then on the other side, when we're talking about fitness and personal embetterment, that's not even a word, but whatever. When we're talking about personal improvement, I take that stuff incredibly seriously because I want to see better people all around me. I'm working on myself every single day, and that's the entire point of starting a YouTube channel. I wanted people to just have a better idea of what's going on out there. Do with the information whatever you may. It's just the fact of getting that information out there. I don't want to teach people facts. I don't want to be talking about people, okay? Because there's that famous poem that has been bastardized over the years by a bunch of lesser minds, and small minds think about and talk about individuals. Average minds talk about events and their place in them, and greater minds talk about ideas. I don't like focusing on specific individuals. I want to talk about the ideas and what pushes them to do stuff. Because the person sitting in that chair, the person sitting in the governor's chair, that's just going to change, okay? The person sitting in the president's chair, the person sitting in the Oval Office right now ain't going to be there forever, okay? It's all about what can we agree on, what's going to make a better society under different conditions. And regardless of how many channels we get, regardless of what direction, what type of coverage we want to do. Because I would love to talk a lot more about wrestling. I've seen that some of you guys really liked that video. There are quite a few views on it and quite a few likes on it, and I do appreciate that. And today it just didn't really work out that way, so perhaps we'll be talking about more of that in the future because I like professional wrestling. I don't like sports entertainment, WWE. It can just, if you've seen some of the results coming out of SummerSlam, it's totally fucking stupid and just par for the course for them, so I don't give a shit. But what's happening over there with AEW, New Japan, all that kind of fun stuff, I'd love to talk about that in the future because I don't want to focus on shit I don't like. I want to focus on opportunities. I want to focus on stuff that's going to be affecting you right now. I don't give a fuck what some actors doing. I don't give a fuck what Disney's doing. I give a shit about the here and the now. So if you want a more esoteric discussion about the importance of moving around, getting yourself better, and hey, even a little bit about my own history, feel free to check that out. The link to the channel will be in the description below. Brand new video that's out there, brand new channel that's out there. Some of you guys did hop over there and subscribe to that, and that really does mean the world to me because I never thought anybody would give a shit what I would have to say, and I've never taken that for granted, and it honestly hits way different than I ever thought it would. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep on going as long as I possibly can. I don't give a fuck if I ever make a cent off this shit. I think it's so goddamn important. And enough rambling. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time, and I thank you so much for this past year. I can't express how happy it makes me. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.